Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Blake? What? Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Aaron is here. Welcome back, everybody, for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to talk about, do you want to go to war, Balake? Scientology continues to wage its war against protesters in downtown Clearwater. I was down there today and got assaulted by a crazy Scientologist. I'm going to show you the video. I'm going to show you the woman who did it, and I'm going to ask for your guys' help out there in the ex-Scientology community to identify this person for me, because I am going to be going down to the police station tomorrow and filing an official report against her. I would not normally do that, but I'm going to explain why. I actually have pretty much no choice but to do it in this scenario, considering how the Clearwater police have been ratcheting up their harassment of Scientology protesters. Okay, so this is the person who hit me. Now, she only hit me on the arm. I survived. There was no blood. I was not knocked down. I do not have a concussion, at least not yet. I'm going to be checked out at the doctor tomorrow. I'm kidding. But she did assault me. She is the one who approached me to begin with. I'm going to show you the video. And by the way, her accent to me sounds South African. It sounds like an Afrikaans accent. Scientology is small enough that there is someone who watches my video, I'm positive, who knows who this person is. So if you can help me identify her, it will help me with my report tomorrow. That being said, I also don't have to know her identity in order to file the report. See, the interesting thing is that the Clearwater police officers work extra duty overtime assignments for Scientology. At this point, the one police officer who's consistently working extra duty for Scientology on Friday evenings while we're out there protesting is Officer Garrett Banks. Well, since Officer Garrett Banks is getting paid by Scientology, they are his boss. So Officer Garrett Banks, I don't know if you'll be the one assigned to investigate this assault, this crime by this Scientologist. But if there's any question as to what my footage shows, Officer Banks, I'm sure you can just go to Scientology and ask them to show you their footage. And I would assume that if they refused to turn over the footage, that would be obstruction of justice. See, this is what I mean when I say we get into a bit of a constitutional crisis. When officers who are sworn to enforce the Constitution are hired by a cult to perform, to work security against protesters who are practicing constitutionally protected activity. And so then what happens when the police officers are now having to investigate an assault on the protesters by the cult who are paying them? And then the officer goes to the cult who's paying them and asks them for the footage, and then the cult refuses to provide the footage. Do you see how we have a bit of a constitutional crisis? In my opinion, that is the language I use. But what do I know, guys? I grew up in a cult. Okay, so what are we talking about? How did all of this come to be? What am I doing out there? Well, last Friday evening, the Clearwater police, specifically Officer Garrett Banks and also Lieutenant Steve Baginski, threatened the protesters that the chalk we have been putting down on public property, mind you, not Scientology's property, public property adjacent to Scientology's property, that Scientology's been going out there to clean up this chalk. And by gosh doggone it, it's taken Scientology too much time to clean up the chalk. And sure, it comes up eventually, but sometimes it takes days. And Scientology doesn't like that. And so if the chalk that we're using is taking too much time to clean up, the officers threatened us that we would be charged or could be charged with vandalism and criminal mischief. I was like, okay, we're going to have to put this to the test. We got to put it to the test. So I went out there yesterday. Let me see. Is this the one? I went out there 2 days ago. No, yesterday. I went out there yesterday. I'm going to share this with no audio. I went out there yesterday to do a little experiment, okay? And I said, guys, Scientology is claiming to the police that it takes them a really long time to clean this up. Why don't we do an experiment? Why don't we test it? And, you know, this big Church of Scientology sign that they have out there, believe it or not, guys, it's on public property. And the police have already verified for us that it's public property. We told them it was public property. We showed them the Pinellas County property lot records, the lot lines on the property appraiser website. The police already verified for us that we are correct. This is public property. So I went out there with some chalk. I verified it was chalk. I showed it to the camera, to the audience, that it's chalk, that the cleanup instructions just involve water and a hose. And I went out there and I made a beautiful chalk mural dedicated to Scientology. And I replaced the word church, and I replaced the word church with the word cult. And I got to tell you guys, this was a work of art. Let me fast forward, show you the final footage of this thing. Here it is. I did it, guys. The Cult of Scientology. Beautiful thing right outside David Miscavige's window, of course. Okay. Now, we were able to verify as of yesterday evening that Scientology had succeeded in completely cleaning up that chalk with no residue. Here's Andrew. And I checked at 6:50 p.m. and it was all cleaned off. Andrew, can you verify for me? Are you talking about checking yesterday or checking today? I'll keep my eyes on the comments. So Andrew and Clearwater George both told me last night that the chalk was totally cleaned off. So I wanted to go back today. I wanted to see it with my own eyes. And I'll be gosh darned if I showed up today. Here, I'm also going to share this one without sound. And they had cleaned up every last bit of that chalk. Look at that, guys. Not one little hint that chalk had ever been there. So first of all, I was relieved because since Scientology was so successful in cleaning up the chalk, the protesters will be marked safe from being arrested by Officer Garrett Banks or Lieutenant Steve Baginski just for putting children's chalk on a public sidewalk. Marked safe. Thank God, everybody. But at the same time, I was inspired to make a new mural. And that's exactly what I did, folks. Okay, both days. Awesome. Okay, so they already have it cleaned up today. That's truly incredible. So I went out there today and I made another mural. I thought this mural was extra beautiful. Loved the colors. And look at that, guys. Look at that. It doesn't get any better than that. Okay. As I was in the process of creating this beautiful mural, a Scientologist walked by me, started shouting at me that what I was doing was illegal. Okay, so let's watch how that went down. Check it out. Get the volume on full blast here. I think I just realized I've been sharing the wrong screen for the last 15 seconds. Apologies for that, guys. Okay, let's try that again. Here we go. What's that?
That's illegal.
It's actually not illegal.
It's not public property. You can't do that.
It is public property,
No,
actually.
it's not. Go away.
It actually is public property. Did you know that?
Get out of my face.
Ma'am, you just assaulted me and I'm going to call the police.
Go for it.
You just assaulted me and I'm going to call the police.
So let's push the camera away.
You're live on YouTube with 2,000 people watching you, just so you know.
Go away.
She just assaulted me. Live on YouTube, folks. Scientologists have no real understanding of the law. That's why you got to have cameras, guys. In a perfect world, I wouldn't be out here by myself, but it's okay. Okay, so super, super interesting. I'm going to play it back again in a moment, but I want to explain why I actually have to file a police report and indicate my intention to press charges. I would normally not bother doing such a thing. There have been many instances out there in the last 18 months where protesters have been shoved or hit or knocked. We have never called the police to make any reports of these things. I know many people have thought and have expressed that it's a mistake for us not to make such reports and document such things. But the truth is, one of the reasons I don't and never have is because I'm not trying to reinforce Scientology's narrative that they're giving to the police, that we're just out there to create trouble and harass people. And this might just be a wrong way to think about things, but I just think that generally speaking, calling the police and expecting them to intervene for every little thing here and there is just doing to them exactly what Scientology does to them. And I would much rather have the police know and realize that it's Scientology who's constantly trying to get them involved in what's going on out there and not us. Again, it might be a wrong way to think about it, but it is simply how I have been thinking about it. Okay, so what has changed? What has changed is that Lieutenant Steve Baginski communicated to the protesters Friday that he is sick and tired of all the phone calls he keeps getting from Scientology about the protesters. And he stated, although he misstated, he said, when I'm getting all these phone calls from both sides, I have to do something about it. Well, he's not getting phone calls from both sides. Nobody has been calling the police about Scientology during our protests. Nobody. So really, that's just a cheap straw man argument that he's having to play, peace negotiator. And part of his efforts to do that is to come and lecture the protesters about what we should or should not be doing that is upsetting Scientology. So the thing is, even though I would not normally bother the police with an assault, with a report about a relatively low-level minor assault like this, it's come to the point, though, where we actually have to do this to serve as an example for whether the Clearwater police are going to take complaints from protesters about actual physical assaults as seriously as they take Scientology's complaints about the protesters, especially when Scientology's complaints have no merit. If the police officers are going to hold the protesters responsible for Scientology's constant, baseless complaints to the police about us, then we have to at least have one case study of whether the Clearwater police will take seriously legitimate complaints from protesters about actual physical assaults from Scientologists sustained while actually protesting outside of Scientology property. It's not that the assault is a huge, giant deal. It's not that I want to see the lady in jail. I don't even know what the police will do. I don't even know. But that's almost the point of filing the report. If the police are going to come to us because Scientology is crying about how long it takes them to clean up chalk, will the police go to Scientology when they're given actual evidence of an actual physical assault by a Scientologist upon a Scientologist protester? It's going to be very interesting to see. Now, I'm going to show you the video again because I know the police are going to say, we don't see a physical assault on camera. And that's true, because when she came up to me to go like this, I turned away from her, and then the camera was no longer pointing directly at her when she whacked me on the arm. That's one of the reasons why I did put on the stream whack, because you can actually hear her hit me. But the thing is, the police already know that Scientology has 5 to 10 cameras focused on that exact area. The police already know Scientology has the evidence of the visual evidence of the assault even more clearly than I have the visual evidence of the assault. If the police are going to take the report seriously and investigate it, they are, of course, going to go ask Scientology for that footage. The same police, by the way, who literally work for Scientology and get paid by Scientology. Now, I know the police are going to say, well, we don't actually get paid by Scientology. The force pays us and then Scientology reimburses them. Let's stop playing games. Let's stop splitting hairs. It's a distinction without a difference. The police who work extra duty overtime assignments for Scientology are being paid by Scientology. Doesn't matter how you put lipstick on that pig. It is still a pig. Okay. Pun intended. Okay. So if the police see this and you can tell there's an assault, you just want more evidence of it, and you go to Scientology and you ask them for their footage and they refuse to give it to you, is that obstruction of justice? Because it sure seems to me like it's obstruction of justice. They have the evidence. You know they have the evidence. You're asking them for it. They're refusing to give it to you. Do you see how we get into a little bit of a constitutional crisis here? What is the police going to do to their boss who's refusing to give them the footage they both know exists about an assault the police are investigating? Do you see how it's a constitutional crisis to allow Scientology to continue to be on the approved list of organizations that can hire Clearwater police officers to do extra duty overtime assignments working for Scientology inside their buildings on Scientology property? It is absurd. The city of Clearwater and the Clearwater Police Department need to put an end to this embarrassment. They need to put an end to Scientology's ability to hire Clearwater police officers to do security against protesters. It's an embarrassment. Okay, let's watch the video again.
What's that?
That's illegal.
It's actually not illegal.
It's not public property. You can't do that.
It is public property,
No,
actually.
Go away.
It actually is public property. Did you know
Get
that?
out of my face.
Ma'am, you just assaulted me and I'm going to call the police.
Go for it.
You just assaulted me and I'm going to call the police.
Go. Let's push the camera away.
You're live on YouTube with 2,000 people watching you, just so you know.
Go away.
She just assaulted me. Live on YouTube, folks. Scientologists have no real understanding of the law. That's why you got to have cameras, guys. In a perfect world, I wouldn't be out here by myself, but it's okay. What's that?
One other thing that I want to point out to you is that I don't believe these people knew that I was recording. And I think I'm going to show it to you one more time. As I turn my camera, because my camera's on a tripod, as I unclick the camera from the tripod and turn towards them, you can see they are not only walking towards me, but very close to me. Okay. So before they knew they were being recorded or being live streamed or there was a camera in action, they were coming up to me. It wasn't until I pointed the camera at them that they started to walk away from me. Okay. Now, Scientology is going to say that as I then walked with the two people, that I then encroached on their private property. And this is what's going to be very interesting. Are the police going to care more about the fact that I was assaulted than they're going to care about whether I followed the woman who assaulted me on past Scientology's property line and up to the door of their building? Are the police going to do one of these things where it's like, well, if you make us, arrest her for assault or whatever, and I don't even know if it's an arrestable offense. I just honestly don't know. Is it a ticket? I don't know, guys. If you make us arrest her, we're going to also arrest you for trespassing. That's what Officer Timmy Tallman of the LAPD did to me in Hollywood when I was assaulted by a guy outside the Scientology test center. This was a guy who had assaulted many Scientology protesters. He had let his dog bite several Scientology protesters. He assaulted me with his fists. He assaulted me with his cane, and he let his dog go after me. Told the police that I wanted him arrested. And they said, well, if you make him he says you were stalking him. All the video evidence showed no such thing had ever occurred. The man simply walked past me on a sidewalk. I said, well, he said you were stalking him. So if we can drop all this, or we can arrest you both, you for stalking and him for assault. I said, arrest me for assault. And they arrested me. And then the next day they said I had never been arrested. I was just detained for questioning. Could have fooled me. They never asked me any questions. They just kept me chained to a bench with my arms behind my back for 4 hours and then let me go. I don't know. It sure felt like an arrest. Anyway, that whole area, that circular area where I was doing the chalk art, the half of that circle closest to the street is public property. The half of that circle closest to Scientology's building is technically private property. That's why I don't go on that half of the circle. So because I had been assaulted, though, I did continue to follow them right to the door of Scientology's building, and they will say that I trespassed. And legally speaking, they may be accurate. I don't really know. But just notice, I'm going to play it one more time. Just notice how they were walking up to me and how close they were to me, even though I am not on their way to the building. Okay, they weren't just walking into the building and talking to me. They were walking up to me. Let's watch this one more time.
What's that?
That's illegal.
It's actually not illegal.
It's not public property. You can't do that.
It is public property,
No,
actually.
Go away.
It actually is public.
They were definitely within arm's reach of me by the time I pointed that camera at them. I can't help it. I want to show it one more time.
Illegal.
It's not public property. You can't do that.
It is public property,
No,
actually.
Go away.
It actually is public property. Did you know that?
Get out of my face.
Ma'am, you just assaulted me and I'm going to call the police.
Go for it.
You just assaulted me and I'm going to call the police.
Go. Let's push the camera away.
You're live on YouTube with 2,000 people watching you, just so you know.
Go away.
Okay, good. I mean, that's it, guys. That is it. I saw someone here pointed out that said you were never officially warned or trespassed from the mothership, only the Fort Harrison. No, you pay such close attention. You are correct. I have never been given a trespass warning from the flag building. I've only been given a trespass warning from the Fort Harrison Hotel. So you're right. They can't threaten to arrest me, but I can almost guarantee that on Friday evening, Officer Banks is going to come out to me and give me a trespass warning from the flag building, aka the mothership, so that if I ever walk on that property again, they can arrest me. Now, just because they can arrest you doesn't necessarily mean they will arrest you. I really do feel like the public scrutiny and the attention and the heat coming on the Clearwater police for harassing Scientology protesters is going to become quite a problem for them. But you're right. They cannot arrest me for this, but they can take the next step of issuing me a trespass warning. Okay, let's see. God, I thought there was one other thing. Nope. I'm going to go through some starred comments. I thought there was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember what it was. So one more time, I'm going to show you guys a screenshot of the attacker. Anyone who can tell me who this person is, please email me at growingupinscientology@gmail.com. You can message me on Instagram DMs, on Twitter DMs, and I'll most likely get your message there as well. Okay, let's see what we have. Constance June, at least no walking canes or walking sticks were involved. Thank goodness, right? George Massey, she got physical. What does she think she is, Olivia Newton-John? Who does she think she is, Olivia Newton-John? Max's mom, loving your daily art project. Glad you are safe from your assault. I wish I had one of those foam neck braces that I could wear in my videos as a joke whenever somebody assaults me. If anyone wants to send me one, please feel free. Freo never in. Police working for Scientology equals conflict of interest. Bubblegum Buster. The cult members are too conditioned to believe that behaving like they do within Scientology is normal behavior in the real world. Normal people don't bullbait. It is such a good point. Scientologists, not only do they not know the law, they also think they are above the law, and it's crazy. Yeah. Okay, Andrew S. Davey is getting very, very angry. Gabrielle, escaping the cultiverse, eh? How do they get away with using public property? I honestly don't know how they got away with putting that giant tile work on public property. Old Frizz, great work, Aaron. Banksy would be impressed, and thank you so much. Northern Girl, until we have a name for her, we'll just call her Slappy. Will, chalk on public Clearwater land is not illegal. What is illegal, however, is assault. Karen Walker, Aaron, the Banksy of Clearwater. Heidi Perry Hip, she's going to get sec checked all night long for acknowledging you. Jerry McGuire, good to see you, Jerry. Coltwater Pig Force is on the move. Okay. Linda, will she get in trouble with Scientology for hitting you? It's a good question. On the one hand, Scientology loves the fact that she, smacked an SP. On the other hand, it's going to create a legal flap. It's going to create a PR flap, and it's literally going to result in a criminal complaint being filed with the Clearwater police. And I'm going to indicate that I want to press charges. I want it pursued. I want it investigated. And if I want her arrested, not because I care so much about the assault, but because Scientology is not going to weaponize the Clearwater police against the protesters and then expect us to put up with physical assaults while the Clearwater police does nothing. Okay. Going to ratchet up the pressure. We're going to hold them to account, make sure they are held accountable. Okay. Eunice Swagpants, spoiler alert, the police won't take this complaint seriously. Well, it's almost like you could be right, but they better take it seriously. The Clearwater police is not used to having a very big, bright spotlight shined on their complicity with Scientology. And, we shined a huge spotlight on them harassing Scientology protesters last week. And this is their opportunity. Lieutenant Steve Baginski said, we're just trying to be fair. We're just trying to, we're trying to be neutral. We're not taking sides in this. This is your chance to prove you're not taking sides in this. And if you ask Scientology for the evidence they have, and if they refuse to give it to you. That should be grounds for removal from the approved list of organizations that are allowed to hire Clearwater Police for extra duty work. You cannot obstruct justice in an investigation regarding a Scientologist assaulting a protester and continue to be allowed to hire police to protect Scientology from protesters. So they better take it seriously. Mrs. Bramlett Jr., Scientology's video footage will magically be deleted or corrupted. And here's what's amazing. The Clearwater Police already know that if a crime is committed within the vicinity of Scientology's buildings, this is one of the way Scientology has safe pointed the Clearwater Police. If a crime is committed by a non-Scientologist, the police can go to Scientology and ask for the high-def camera and video footage of that crime. Scientology will give it to them 100% of the time to help the police solve their crimes. And the Clearwater Police already know Scientology will not cooperate if it involves a Scientologist who has committed the crime. Okay, that's already incredibly problematic. But now it involves a crime committed right on their front steps by a Scientology protester. Let's see how this gets handled. Anti-cult, taxpayers' property, not private property. Constance June, don't go to the police on Friday. Long weekend in jail. Well, I'm going to go to the police to file a report. They're not going to put me in jail for filing a report, but I think I know what you mean. Cheryl of the left hand, the police will care much more that you stepped on Scientology property than the assault on you. Let's hope not. Alan F., is she a U.S. citizen or a visitor? If a visitor, get ICE to deport her for criminality. Interesting. Very interesting. Zigma 182, probably so interpolated that it cost her money in auditing fees. Juan Walker, yo, Aaron, first heard about you from Andy Stumpf by coincidence, and later Rogan. You're hilarious, and I'm obsessed with your channel. We need Baller Part 2. What was Baller? What was Baller? What was Baller? What was Baller? Anyway, thank you for the kind comment, Juan. I appreciate that. All right, guys, that is it for me right now. And that is probably it for me this evening. We'll see how I feel a bit later. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. And what's Thursday? Yeah. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.